In a peaceful Arizona neighborhood, a successful lawyer named Diane relentlessly pursued the removal of her neighbor Dorothy's beloved Virgin Mary statue from the garden, calling it inappropriate and a blight on property values, humiliating the elderly widow in front of everyone until it was torn down. But 6 months later, when Diane's world crumbled in crisis, something inexplicable happened that would bring her to her knees, restoring not just the statue, but a broken heart and a divided community. This is the profound miracle of the Virgin Mary, turning enmity into friendship and doubt into devotion through grace no one saw coming. Before we continue, share in the comments where you're watching from and what time it is there. Let's see how far the miracles of the Virgin Mary have reached. And if you haven't yet joined our family, subscribe now, because here, each day, we witness the tender love and mighty power of the Mother of God. 7 in the morning, Dorothy left the house and went to the front garden with a mug of coffee in hand. At 55, a retired nurse widowed for 15 years, she had spent 3 decades at the municipal hospital, cradling newborns in their first moments and holding hands in final breaths, learning that life was fragile and every day a gift. Her mornings followed this quiet ritual, coffee steaming in the crisp Arizona air, tending plants with gentle fingers, then pausing at the statue of the Virgin Mary, 60 centimeters tall, blue mantle faded by relentless sun, a small crack tracing one side like a memory of storms endured. The statue had been her husband's last gift, brought home on a Saturday morning with a soft smile. For you, your faith deserves a special place. 3 days later, he entered the hospital and never returned, but the statue remained, a sentinel of love and loss. In suburban Arizona neighborhoods, where Spanish colonial influences blend with modern homes, garden shrines to Mary are common. Our Lady of Guadalupe, revered by many, her image a symbol of protection for families in a land of vast deserts and sudden monsoons. Dorothy prayed there daily, eyes closed, giving thanks for her children and grandchildren, seeking peace for the world outside. Longtime neighbors knew the routine, respecting it like a sacred hour, some even requesting prayers for loved ones, knowing Dorothy's faith ran deep as the Grand Canyon. She had been like this for 15 years until Diane moved in. Diane arrived on a Saturday in September, 2 moving trucks rumbling up the street, a team of 6 uniformed workers unloading boxes labeled with color codes. Everything organized, everything controlled. 50 years old, a lawyer specializing in real estate disputes, Diane had relocated from Phoenix for a quieter life, her sharp mind honed in courtrooms where she dismantled arguments with precision. Blonde hair perfectly styled, she supervised the move with clipboard in hand, directing placements like a general on the battlefield. From her kitchen window, Dorothy watched curiously, waving welcome as Diane passed. Diane nodded briefly, eyes scanning the neighborhood. Neat lawns, modest homes, then pausing on Dorothy's garden statue. Her expression tightened slightly, but she said nothing then to in Arizona's Catholic communities, influenced by Mexican heritage where Marian devotion thrives. Fiestas honoring Guadalupe with flowers and processions. Such garden statues often foster neighborly bonds. But Diane saw only potential issues: property values, aesthetics, the inappropriate religious display in a diverse area. Days later, Diane knocked on Dorothy's door, introduction polite, but purpose clear. The statue, it's visible from the street. Some might find it divisive. Dorothy blinked, confused. It's been there 15 years. My husband's gift. Diane pressed. Neighborhood standards. It could devalue properties. Dorothy's eyes misted, but she stood firm. It's my garden, my faith. Tensions escalated. Diane rallied neighbors. Meetings in her living room. Petitions circulated. Maintain neutral aesthetics. Some signed reluctantly. Others refused. George next door. Dorothy's statue hurts no one. Diane confronted Dorothy publicly one afternoon, voice sharp before gathered neighbors. It's inappropriate. Remove it, or I'll involve the HOA. Dorothy's voice trembled. Pleased, it's all I have of him. Tears fell freely, humiliation burning as neighbors watched. Diane stood unmoved. The widows paint a footnote to her agenda in Catholic teaching. Mary's mantle protects the faithful. Our Lady of Sorrows comforting those who weep, her intercession turning hearts. Dorothy prayed that night, eyes on the statue. Help me understand. Diane's victory came swiftly. HOA ruling, statue removed for code violation. Workers arrived, Dorothy watching heartbroken as it was lifted away, tears streaming. The garden empty, her mournings hollow. 6 months later, Diane's life unraveled. Grandson Tommy, 6, diagnosed with leukemia, aggressive, prognosis grim. Hospital vigils began, Diane's control shattering against medicine's limits. The weeks following the statue's removal settled over the quiet Arizona neighborhood like a heavy pall, the once warm community air now tinged with awkward silences and averted glances. Dorothy's front garden, long a place of gentle beauty with its carefully tended flowers and the small Virgin Mary statue as its heart, felt starkly incomplete, the pedestal empty, the roses around it seeming to droop in quiet mourning. Neighbors who had passed daily, offering smiles or brief chats during Dorothy's morning ritual, now hurried by, unsure what to say. The retired nurse, at 55 a pillar of kindness after decades caring for the sick, retreated indoors more, her coffee mug untouched on some mornings, the loss carving deeper than any words. Diane, the new arrival with her precise organization and sharp professional edges, felt the victory hollow almost immediately. The HOA ruling had gone her way, statue deemed non-neutral religious display, violating aesthetic guidelines. But celebrations never came. In suburban Arizona communities, where diverse faiths coexist amid desert landscapes, garden shrines to Mary are common expressions of devotion, especially among those with Mexican or Italian roots honoring Our Lady of Guadalupe or the Immaculate Conception. Diane, focused on property values and uniformity, had seen only infringement, yet cracks appeared in her certainty. Nights brought restlessness. Images of Dorothy's tear-streaked face during the confrontation replaying, the widow's soft voice pleading, "It's all I have left of him." Diane dismissed it as sentiment, but doubt crept in. Her own life, controlled to the detail, successful law practice relocated for peace, home arranged with minimalist precision, felt suddenly fragile. Dorothy prayed indoors now, the statue stored carefully in her living room corner, blue mantle catching lamplight during evening rosary. "Help me forgive," she whispered, beads slipping through fingers worn from years of service. In Catholic teaching, Mary's role as refuge of sinners extends to those who wound us. Her sorrowful heart understanding pain's many forms. Dorothy clung to this, offering the hurt for Diane's peace. Community tensions simmered, petitions reversed, neighbors apologizing to Dorothy, some confronting Diane politely. "It's just a statue," one said. "Harmless." Diane defended standards, values, but voices wavered. Her grandson Tommy visited weekends, 6 years old with boundless energy, playing in her pristine yard. "Where's the lady?" he asked once, pointing to Dorothy's empty spot. Diane brushed it off. 6 months passed. Then crisis struck Diane's world. Tommy diagnosed with leukemia, aggressive, prognosis grim. Hospital vigils began, control shattering against medicine's limits. Nights in the waiting room, Diane paced, lawyers' minds seeking arguments, solutions, none sufficient. One desperate evening, driving home exhausted, Diane passed Dorothy's house. Lights on, silhouette at window. Impulse turned the wheel. She knocked, voice breaking, "Please pray for my grandson." Dorothy opened without hesitation, embracing the woman who had caused pain. "Come in." They sat, Dorothy's rosary in hand, praying together, tears shared, enmity dissolving in shared fear. That night, Dorothy dreamed. Mary in blue mantle, beside Tommy's bed, hand on his forehead, light soft as dawn. He will live. Morning brought impossible. Tommy's fever broke, markers improving dramatically. Doctors baffled, exceptional response. Diane knew. Grace through the woman she wronged. She returned the statue herself, restored, pedestal rebuilt, kneeling with Dorothy in the garden. Forgive me. Tears flowed. Forgiveness instant point. Two statues now stand. One in each garden, fenced between friends. The in neighborhoods where hearts harden. Mary's gentle light softens, turning conflict to communion, pride to humility. The first hints of change came so subtly that the family almost missed them amid the relentless routine of hospital visits and quiet vigils. Margaret's nights grew less restless, the pain that had racked her body easing enough for her to sleep through until dawn. Jennifer noticed it one morning when she brought breakfast, Margaret sitting upright in bed, a faint smile playing on her lips as she gazed at the small statue of the Virgin Mary Marcus had placed on the nightstand. I feel lighter today, she whispered, voice fragile, yet carrying a note of wonder. Doctors, reviewing blood work with cautious optimism, noted anomalies. Inflammation markers dipping unexpectedly. Tumor indicators stabilizing where progression had been certain. It's early, Dr. Ellison cautioned, but this response is unusual. In oncology, such pauses occur rarely, bodies sometimes rallying briefly against aggressive cancers. Yet Margaret's improvement gathered gentle momentum, strength returning like dawn light creeping over the horizon. Marcus sensed it most acutely. His drawing routine slowed, the shoebox no longer filling nightly. He spent hours by Margaret's bed instead, holding her hand, eyes conveying what words never needed to. The vision from that tearful night, the light, the presence, her promise, remained his silent treasure, peace radiating from him as grandmother improved. In autism's unique lens, where patterns and purity often open doors others miss, Marcus's devotion had bridged heaven and earth. Wordless decades of colored pencil becoming powerful intercession. By early summer, Margaret sat in the living room again, wrapped in a shawl but upright, rosary beads once more slipping through fingers in evening prayer. I feel her close, she whispered to Jennifer, eyes on the statue. Always did. Jennifer nodded, tears silent. Miracle unspoken, yet felt in every breath Margaret took. Full recovery unfolded gradually. Walks in the garden, pancakes baked with Marcus watching, laughter returning to meals. Doctors marveled. Extraordinary remission. Charts showing stability, vitality blooming anew. The family gathered for Margaret's birthday in autumn. 73 candles glowing, cake shared with joy. Marcus brought the shoebox, opening it for the first time. Over 100 drawings of Mary, each unique. Devotion poured in color and silence. Jennifer's breath caught. You drew her every night? Marcus nodded, eyes shining. Margaret held the final tear-smudged page, the night of the vision. This was under my pillow, she whispered, understanding dawning. When everything changed, tears flowed, family embracing, love beyond words uniting them. Marcus's secret vigil revealed, drawings his rosary, pure heart opening heaven's grace in Catholic homes, especially those touched by illness. Mary's intercession often manifests through quiet channels. The rosary's persistent beads, children's pure offerings echoing the little visionaries of old. Marcus's drawings had been his rosary, devotion expressed in color and form when voice could not. The night of the vision, the light, the presence, her gentle assurance, remained his secret, held close like the drawings themselves. The house endured as haven, tulips blooming faithfully each spring, rosary prayers nightly echoing generations, bonds unbreakable. Marcus thrived, routines comforting, love expressed in presence. Margaret aged with grace, faith's light undimmed. Parents cherished each day, ordinary luminous with gratitude. Marcus kept deepest secret, the presence, warmth, her assurance, held close like drawings. Yet peace radiated, miracle fulfilled and healing granted, in a world measuring by words. Grace whispers through silence. A boy's devotion becoming prayer, pure heart receiving what doubt might block. The Virgin Mary, refuge of the wordless, hears every cry, answering in ways only love understands. The spring that followed the winter of waiting brought a tentative renewal to the little house in Boston, where the tulips in the front garden pushed through the soil with stubborn hope, their colors a quiet defiance against the long months of shadow. Margaret's condition, once a steady decline that doctors charted with resigned certainty, began to show inexplicable pauses, nights where pain eased enough for true sleep, mornings where she managed a few steps around the room with the nurse's arm for support. Jennifer watched with a mixture of joy and disbelief, recording every small victory in a journal. A spoonful more of broth savored, a smile lingering longer, eyes brighter when Marcus entered the room. Doctors, reviewing blood work with cautious optimism, noted anomalies. Inflammation markers dipping unexpectedly, tumor indicators stabilizing where progression had been certain. It's early, Dr. Ellison cautioned, but this response is unusual. In oncology, such pauses occur rarely, bodies sometimes rallying briefly against aggressive cancers. Yet Margaret's improvement gathered gentle momentum, strength returning like dawn light creeping over the horizon. Marcus sensed it most acutely. His drawing routine slowed, the shoebox no longer filling nightly. He spent hours by Margaret's bed instead, holding her hand, eyes conveying what words never needed to. The vision from that tearful night, the light, the presence, her promise, remained his silent treasure, peace radiating from him as grandmother improved. In autism's unique lens, where patterns and purity often open doors others miss, Marcus's devotion had bridged heaven and earth. Wordless decades of colored pencil becoming powerful intercession, by early summer. Margaret sat in the living room again, wrapped in a shawl but upright, rosary beads once more slipping through fingers in evening prayer. I feel her close, she whispered to Jennifer, eyes on the statue. Always did. Jennifer nodded, tears silent. Miracle unspoken, yet felt in every breath Margaret took. Full recovery unfolded gradually. Walks in the garden, pancakes baked with Marcus watching, laughter returning to meals. Doctors marveled. Extraordinary remission. Charts showing stability, vitality blooming anew. The family gathered for Margaret's birthday in autumn. 73 candles glowing, cake shared with joy. Marcus brought the shoebox, opening it for the first time. Over 100 drawings of Mary, each unique. Devotion poured in color and silence. Jennifer's breath caught. You drew her every night? Marcus nodded, eyes shining. Margaret held the final tear-smudged page, the night of the vision. This was under my pillow, she whispered, understanding dawning. When everything changed, tears flowed, family embracing, love beyond words uniting them. Marcus's secret vigil revealed, drawings his rosary, pure heart opening heaven's grace in Catholic homes, especially those touched by illness. Mary's intercession often manifests through quiet channels. The rosary's persistent beads, children's pure offerings echoing the little visionaries of old. Marcus's drawings had been his rosary, devotion expressed in color and form when voice could not. The night of the vision, the light, the presence, her gentle assurance, remained his secret, held close like the drawings themselves. The house endured as haven. Tulips blooming faithfully each spring, rosary prayers nightly echoing generations, bonds unbreakable. Marcus thrived, routines comforting, love expressed in presence. Margaret aged with grace, faith's light undimmed. Parents cherished each day, ordinary luminous with gratitude. Marcus kept deepest secret, the presence, warmth, her assurance, held close like drawings. Yet peace radiated, miracle fulfilled and healing granted, in a world measuring by words. Grace whispers through silence. A boy's devotion becoming prayer, pure heart receiving what doubt might block. The Virgin Mary, refuge of the wordless, hears every cry, answering in ways only love understands. The years that followed the restoration of the Virgin Mary statue in Willow Creek Elementary's courtyard wove a tapestry of quiet grace over the small Oregon town, where seasons turned with familiar rhythm, snow blanketing the hills in winter hush, melting into spring's vibrant green, summer's warm golden light fading to autumn's fiery hues. Richard Coleman, once the principal whose practical decisions brooked no sentiment, now carried a gentleness that softened his edges, visible in the way he paused longer in conversations, listened more than directed, eyes reflecting a depth earned through crisis and wonder. The courtyard thrived as heart of the school, roses blooming faithfully around the pedestal George had helped stabilize in secret that dawn. Children gathering for recess under Mary's open arms, teachers beginning assemblies. With a moment of reflection there, community events multiplied, spring picnics, fall festivals, parents sharing stories of the night the statue returned, the tale growing in telling yet rooted in truth. Margaret Hayes retired gracefully, her classroom a legacy of kindness, often visiting to share with new generations how Mary watches over us all. Richard's father Harold lived to 90, sharp in storytelling until the end, often joking over coffee. Told you stubbornness runs in the family, but grace found us anyway. Family gatherings warmed, holidays rich with presents, Richard's choices now measured by heart over haste. He never spoke publicly of the hospital vision, the warmth defying chill, roses in sterile air, her pointing gesture saving seconds that saved a life, but carried it privately, guiding quieter acts, anonymous funds for school needs, time mentoring struggling staff. One Christmas Eve years later, snow falling soft as forgiveness, Richard stood in the courtyard after the children's pageant. Little ones reenacting the nativity with wide-eyed awe, Mary's role filled by a shy girl touching the statues. Heaven thanks. Lights twinkled on trees he had planted, the scene peaceful under starlit sky. Richard paused before the figure, cracks filled, mantle bright, arms extended eternally. "Thank you," he whispered, voice carrying in the hush. No scent came, no vision, but peace settled profound, affirmation enough in rural communities like Willow Creek, where Catholic roots from pioneer days endure, statues raised in schoolyards as protectors through storms literal and figurative. Miracles often unfold quietly. A pedestal restored at dawn, a heart opened in hospital waiting, grace multiplying through ordinary lives. Richard understood. Mary's intercession seeks the practical, the doubting, gentle guidance when pride blinds, mercy when guilt weighs heaviest. The statue stands still, welcoming generations. Children leaving flowers, parents pausing in prayer, town finding in her open arms reminder that no decision final, no heart beyond reach. Richard retired eventually, succeeded by one honoring traditions anew. Yet he visited often, sitting on a bench, watching life unfold where emptiness once reigned. Some miracles thunder, others whisper through restored stone and renewed souls. Coincidences only to those forgetting heaven's patient love. In Grecio's spirit, Willow Creek learned, grace restores what practicality removes. Light fills where shadows lingered. Before we finish, I invite you to join our prayer community dedicated to the Virgin Mary, a worldwide family sharing testimonies of her maternal care. If this story has touched your heart, Click below to subscribe and become part of our chain of prayer. And if you followed Richard's journey to the end, please write in the comments, "Roses," the scent that changed everything in that early morning. Let us witness together how many souls have been reached by this testament to Mary's enduring miracles. Share this video with someone needing hope today. May Our Lady bless and protect you and your family always. Amen.